Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Ms. Marvel's Inhuman tease. Well, as many of you know, we got a new episode of Ms. Marvel this week, and once again, it was an excellent story. I have to say, the first half of this episode ran a little slow, but the new origin and backstory for Kamala Khan I totally enjoyed, and it really gave me some insight into those historical events. Now, by the end of the episode, we actually saw Kamala return from a rather interesting journey through time, and we'll cover that in a different video. But when she returned, she found that the blow the bangle had blocked actually opened the veil. This is a door to that Noor dimension that the clandestines were trying to reach throughout the whole series. They actually detailed what this dimension was in the previous episodes, and the doorway itself was very dangerous. Now, when any of the clandestine touched it, it didn't work out too well. They were immediately covered with a black rock-like substance and then disintegrated into dust. Now, I have to say, this process seemed pretty familiar. And if you're a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you might have seen it before. A lot of people believe that this was actually a nod to Terrigenesis, because this is exactly how it was portrayed in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. This is only kind of important because in the comics, Kamala Khan is actually an Inhuman, not a Jinn, and Kevin Feige has made it pretty clear her origin story will be unfolding over time, so it's not even close to being complete yet, despite getting a rather complete backstory so far. Now, as many of you remember, the Inhumans were part of the initial MCU slate and the game plan laid out by Kevin Feige several years ago, but what went on behind the scenes was quite different. This was a project championed by Marvel Entertainment head Ike Perlmutter, and Kevin Feige, due to some massive differences in how movies should be made, actually petitioned Disney and got removed from under Perlmutter and started reporting directly to Disney brass. When this happened, the Inhumans project that was set to go to Marvel Studios moved over to Marvel Television, and to call that a bit of a disaster would be an understatement. There were a couple minor elements of the show that worked, but it was very poorly received by fans and considered one of Marvel's first flops, coming close to damaging the brand. Now, comic purists really want to see Ms. Marvel keep close to her Inhuman roots, and the story so far departed from that greatly, but this does leave a little bit of a tie to that story. Now, do I believe she's an Inhuman? Honestly, we can't tell yet. Kevin Feige knows how to honor the comics, but he's also clearly doing something different with the character. It's really hard to tell because this process was clearly very much like what they did in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, and there's no way Marvel Studios doesn't recognize the similarities. If this is a nod to the Terrigen Mist, it could be a completely different way of generating those characters, and that might be what Feige's after, ultimately planting some light seeds now for the Inhumans, only to flesh them out maybe where they were fleshed out in the comics, and that was in Fantastic Four. Now, obviously, if we get any more news about Ms. Marvel or this Inhuman tie-in, we're going to bring it to you right away. It's obviously going to be ammunition for a lot of people who believe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and most of Marvel TV is truly canon to the MCU, and quite honestly, they have a pretty good point. We're going to keep following Ms. Marvel through next week's finale. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to get all the updates, and if we hear any more news on Inhumans, we're going to bring it to you right away. But I gotta know what you guys think. Did this transformation process remind you of the Terrigen Mist in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And do you believe Kamala Khan in the MCU will ultimately be revealed to also be an Inhuman? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.